Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business. I hope you had an amazing day. And today I have Miss Liz Gallo, who is a trained technology and engineering educator and has a passion for helping students become problem solvers and design thinkers. Liz has been teaching K through university technology and engineering education for over 10 years. Liz started WhyMaker, a different kind of professional development organization to help teachers be comfortable and confident STEM and maker education. For the 2019-2020 school year, WhyMaker's mission is to support over 2,000 educators and 400,000 students experience maker education. Well, welcome, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us, where did this all come from?
So when I was in high school, actually, I was at that point in my life where I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, what I was going to go to college for. And my mom casually mentioned to me, why don't you go to school to be a teacher? And I was like, okay. So I just decided to go to school to be a teacher. And I loved biology and science. So I started out as a biology and elementary education teacher in college. And biology classes were way too hard for me because I was in classes with pre-med students. So then I found the math, science, technology elementary education department and took a technology education class and instantly realized that this is how we should be teaching our children. This is what we should be teaching our children. And it's been an amazing experience since then. I got hired to teach technology education and got really well connected with a networking group of other technology teachers, and they supported me through my first couple of years and encouraged me to go on. And I just kept building these great experiences being a technology education teacher. And that leads me to where I am now.
Okay. So let me ask you, what grade levels?
Right. So I started off teaching kindergarten through 8th grade, and then was in a middle school for a couple years, and then was taught some high school students also. So I've taught everything from kindergarten through high school technology, and now I'm teaching in some master's programs at Buffalo State University in New York and Iona College in New York as well.
Wow.
Very fine.
Yes. Ruth, you got some questions?
I do. Could you tell us a little bit, in my generation, there was no such thing as a technology and engineering educator.
Mm-hmm.
So there are going to be people listening who perhaps in their schools also don't have this type of benefit. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do with students?
Great question. So a lot of times I tell people I teach technology and they say to me, oh, so you can fix my computer, it's not working. And that's not what a technology teacher does usually. Technology teachers teach the study of the human-made world. So we work with students and we study all sorts of different things that humans have made and humans could make. We talk about lots of inventions and innovations and how do you design something? How do you create something? How do you build something with your hands? Where in science class, you ask a lot of why questions. Why does the earth rotate around the sun? Why does gravity affect us here? You ask why questions. And in technology and engineering, we ask how. How does that happen? How can I make that happen? How can I improve things? And technology teachers are doing that. Traditional technology classes for a lot of people were industrial arts and shop classes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that resonates with a lot of people. And now it's more electronics technology and robotics and computer science, but still incorporating a lot of woodworking and metalworking and, hands-on skills that give kids really great experiences and different experiences to things that could potentially lead them to some great careers.
Mm.
That sounds really good.
It sounds very interesting.
Yes.
So that's why that you call it maker in education?
Right. So maker spaces and maker education are another big turn that education has been taking lately to help give all students experience just creating stuff with their hands.
Awesome.
And that can be some really low tech, quick projects with cardboard and masking tape and recycled materials, and maker spaces can get increasingly more advanced from there too. So a maker space is a place, in theory, a maker space is a place where anyone in the community can come to make whatever they're interested in making with no guidance or structure or education to what they have to create. A makerspace is kind of like an open-ended experience.
Wow. So that definitely kicks up the creativity.
That's what I'm thinking. This is about creativity.
Yes.
It is. It's building the problem solving and the thinking skills in kids so that whenever they encounter a problem of any kind that they experience, they're able to look back on their experiences in technology and makerspace to figure out a solution to it.
Wow.
That's really fascinating.
Yes.
It's a whole different way of looking at education.
Mm-hmm.
And I know at the very beginning you said that, once you got into, change your path, so to speak, in school, in university, you recognize that this is the way that children need to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is absolutely fabulous.
Right.
That's amazing. Who developed this idea, a concept of technology and engineering education?
So it used to be called, I'm actually doing a study with my graduate students on this. So technology education started a very long time ago as a trades program where we specifically taught people a specific trade. Whether, back in time, whether you're a blacksmith, a metal worker, those are really specific craft skills where you're providing a service, but there's also a lot of craft built into it. You can do beautiful blacksmith work. You could do beautiful hand carving. And throughout 200 plus, 300 plus years, it's evolved to what was called manual education and then industrial arts and then into technology education and now technology and engineering education. With the maker spaces popping up everywhere.
So it's sort of a makeover of those industries.
Yeah, like a growing up.
Yes, yeah, good way of putting that, growing up. Well, just out of curiosity, would glass blowing go into this?
Sure. We don't do any glass blowing in our typical middle schools.
Right, that would be disastrous.
But yeah, glass blowing is a trade craft that, that could be taught and mastered.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So in these maker spaces, when you see, let's say a kid has a particular interest in certain areas, how do you cultivate that?
Having conversations with them, honest conversations. A lot of times, education pushes, our education system for years has pushed kids to go to college. Go to college. You have to go to college. You have to get a 4-year degree. That's the only way that you're going to be successful in life. Well, now a big issue is that we have no skilled laborers in our country. We have no people that are doing skilled work and things like glass blowing or, running a CNC machine at a mill, at a manufacturing plant. There's no one to do those jobs. And those jobs don't require a 4-year degree. So it's a hard thing to have. Sometimes technology teachers feel and students feel that, I have to go to college, and I'm not good at school. I'm not going to be good at college. So having these open, honest conversations with students about, what you're good at, how that can turn into a career, how you can lead yourself down the path to a career in this trade or this skill, what it's like for them, putting up videos about careers and technology and sharing them with other students, inviting in locals from the community to talk about their careers is really, really a way to help kids understand what careers are out there for them.
That is amazing that this is the route we're taking. And hopefully it is something that's going to grow, because we really do, like you said, we don't have artisans anymore. We used to have people who, they were woodworkers. They made beautiful furniture. Maryland and Baltimore is famous for the wrought iron work that used to be done here. And now no one knows how to do it. So those are like lost trades. Even when you look at some buildings, the architecture, the art that is in that architecture, something as simple as masonry. Most people don't know how to do that anymore. And yet people want it.
Right.
Because, and this is just so interesting. I know Ida said, oh, here she goes again with the tiny house.
It's okay.
This is exactly what people are learning as they are building their own tiny houses.
Right.
And there is a whole movement, not just in this country, but throughout the world. And what they are looking for and what they want for themselves, you'll hear many of them say, who are adults who are doing it, saying, I wish I had developed these skills rather than going to a 4-year college.
Okay.
Because that 4-year college degree is not translating. And these are, a lot of times you're hearing this from the millennials.
I mean, you graduate college and you're just so in debt. And you have now to start from the bottom. Where if there's so many high schools out there and so many high school programs that graduate kids with a certification in one of these hands-on skills areas.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so they can leave high school and start a career, making very good money, and, keep growing from there. And I think a lot, there's been a lot of, it's not the most glamorous job in the world, but you can make really, really good money and have a really good quality of life and keep learning and keep growing and, staying curious and being very successful in a craft or a trades, career field.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
And as a female, coming up when I was dating, I always looked for men that could work with their hands. Always. You either had to be able to fix the car, use a hammer and a nail and a leveler.
Do something.
Yeah, I could not deal with guys that was pushing a pencil like me. I'm a technology in terms of I work on the actual software and the hardware kind of stuff. But, I mean, even I can work with a nail and a hammer and a leveler.
Right.
And to me, that was very important to have a mate that knew how to do things with their hands.
Right. Right. So as a female technology teacher, it is probably my most passionate thing to help inspire our girls to be comfortable and confident to use hand tools. I put 11-year-old girls on bandsaws and chop saws. And they stand there first and they're like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I go, you don't know until you try. And then we try. And then there's this sense of accomplishment and this empowerment that comes over an 11-year-old girl when she's just cut a piece of wood on this spinning machine that she never thought she'd be able to touch before in her life. And I think those skills translate, and that experience translates so much further than just our classroom and our project.
It gives them strength. It gives them courage, confidence.
Every single technology teacher you will ever talk to will tell you that the girls in their class do better work than every single boy.
Uh-huh.
I can imagine.
Girls pay attention to the fine details. Girls want to create beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
And they will pay attention to the instructions. So their work is always of a higher quality than most of the boys in the room.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
In a world that has gone from, how can I say it, not belittling Betty Crocker, but from that stereotype to young girls now saying, I can build my own house if I want to.
Yep. And that's what I hope will give me chills. That's what I hope I can empower in girls' technology education classes.
And they're doing it too, because my cousin is an electrician.
Yeah.
So she, goes out with the guys and pretty much toe to toe with them.
Right.
Now, the other thing, in terms of girls getting into these fields, how does the men embrace that, or do they?
When they're younger, they don't notice. The boys, they don't notice. The girls notice when they're pushed out by a group of boys, and they'll take a step back. So as the adult in the room who's paying attention to those things, you have to encourage the girls to step in, and you have to encourage them to continue to look for what they want and ask for what they want and be curious and be engaged and speak their minds when they're in front of a group of girls. I don't know. I haven't thought about how the boys.
I think that the boys, the millennials probably think differently than the older people. Because I think the older people would resent the fact of a woman being able to do what they're doing, because in their mind, it's not their place. And that's just a whole different generation. And I think the millenniums probably don't care one way or another in terms of the boys.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in this country, women have been the backbone of so much. Even if you want to talk about the whole pioneer movement, there were a lot of women who lost their husbands and their sons, and they had to do for themselves.
Right.
They built their own cabins. They built their barns. They had help from their neighbors, true, and then sometimes maybe not, because they were out there on the lone prairie, all by themselves, all alone on the lone prairie.
Right.
And they had children, so they had to figure out how to put it together.
Yeah, I mean, women are very powerful. Yeah. Around the world too. Around the world, there are a lot of places where the women are in control of most of what's happening, and really empowering to travel and see that and watch how that happens.
Ooh,
wow.
I agree with that. Yes.
So how do people get in touch with you?
So I am located through WhyMaker. So you can find me at whymaker.co, the whole word Y, the whole word maker, and then .co. And also on all the social media channels at WhyMaker.
Okay, I'm really loving this.
Yeah.
This definitely got a nice twist to it.
Yeah, it's not what I expected.
I didn't expect that at all. When I saw technology, I'm thinking computers or robotics or, that kind of thing.
Which is still a portion of it. There's just a lot of thought that goes into that happening in technology and engineering classrooms.
And they're paving the world, that's paving the way for a whole new industry.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I love the fact that you're problem solvers and design thinkers.
Right.
That's so different from being given the basic outline of what needs to be done and then just making basing what you do on that design that's already been given to you. Right. This gives them to actually say, well, how do I build a house?
Right.
How do I do that? How do I make the rafters the way that I want them to be, or form the house the way that I want it to be?
Right.
And therefore they have to do some problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to do some designing.
Right.
And I love that. I think that is just wonderful. And in a way, it's so simple, it seems so strange, but isn't that what toddlers do, young children do, when you give them blocks years ago? Today it's Legos. Oh, I just so love this. I would love to see
I'm
this
excited.
in every single school, in every school,
Yeah.
and in every community center.
Mm-hmm.
This is just, this is so important.
Knowledge is everywhere. You have so much knowledge in your pocket, in your phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's figuring out how to connect all that knowledge to create the experience you want.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So is this program only based in New York right now?
No, I'm rapidly traveling the world doing this. We have an online course coming up for teachers to help train them from all over the world. I have teachers from Brazil signed up. I have teachers from upstate New York and California all signed up for this online course. We have been to Mexico to do work in Mexico, all over the country. Going to Ohio next week. Travel a ton to train teachers, and that's the point.
Okay.
So that says people are really embracing this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we need to get back to our hands. And we just interviewed somebody else that talked on the same note about when we came in this world, all we had was hands.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have, like the supermarket. We didn't have all that. We had to grow our own food and harvest it and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But we've become a soft people.
Yes.
Dependent upon, the things that could easily be wiped away. And then what?
And I always think, like, how did that all get there? Someone had to figure out how to design the supermarket. And someone had to figure out how to design the case that holds the apples. And someone had to figure out how to design the bag for the grapes, and how to make cotton candy flavored grapes. Someone had to figure all that out. So the goal is to help more kids understand that and help them be creative and help them think of ways to think of new ideas to help improve our society.
Yes.
Well, I can just see all kinds of beautiful things coming out of this because everyone is going to experience this differently.
Yes.
They're making some fabulous work.
Right.
I can just see all kinds of possibilities, and I can see young people really enthused about going to your classes.
Yeah.
And I can see the teachers too being like, this is like, this is a shot in the arm.
Yes. And that's my next question.
Okay.
The enthusiasm, what's the vibrations you feel in your maker sections?
So kids would come running down the hall to my classroom, sprinting down the hall to get to class for technology education. And that is just so uplifting and energetic. And you know that something good is happening when kids are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels good inside of you. With teachers, what I've noticed recently, and it's so interesting, is once they're given permission to teach in this way, and permission is an interesting word, but once their administration says, it's okay to teach like this, we want you to be doing these hands-on experiences with your students, and we want you to be teaching in this project-based learning manner, what happens is they relax. And they have that same feeling that I had when I learned about it the first time. They were like, oh, this is how we should be teaching children. And they relax, and then they just jump into it and feel ready to go. And they're on board, and they're excited, and they just keep going and building and building and building.
So that's also lifting them up because they don't feel constraints, because they can be free to teach in a more creative way, which has always been a whole lot more beneficial. Because I know when I was in college and I had a teacher that was talking at me, it was quickly sleepy time. Because I didn't feel like I was engaging. I didn't feel engaged. I felt like I was being talked at.
Right.
And the human brain attention span, when somebody's coming at you like that, doesn't last that long if you're not being engaged.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
It's getting kids engaged, getting teachers engaged, and uplifting them. This professional development role is a lot about uplifting teachers and supporting them and making them feel comfortable to teach this and confident that they can do this. Because it's kind of scary sometimes when you're saying, we're probably not going to be giving information. Like, that's easy to do, right? It's hard to let the kids have some independence and some freedom in what they're learning and how they're learning it and how they're creating a project. So it's a lot of confidence building and uplifting spirits and energy and positivity.
A question. Has this ever been used so far with adult education groups? People who are returning to school, whatever.
I'm sure. When we talk about adult ed, are you talking about like the career and technical education programs, or
just anywhere that I don't know. I'm just wondering, would it fit for an adult profile?
So there's a great organization called IDEO, IDEAO, and they do a lot of design thinking workshops with companies and businesses and organizations to help the people of those companies be innovative and creative and design better solutions to whatever their company is working on. Okay. So it works in that sense very well. And helping kids in school build up those skills so that when they get to that, they hit the ground running with a project like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that.
In terms of maker spaces, most community-based maker spaces are open to everyone. So you can find local makerspace. A lot of them are in your local libraries. They've really taken ownership of maker spaces and maker education. And you can walk in there and, I want to learn about this tool, or I want to learn about this product, or I want to make this thing. How can I do that?
Okay. That's
we'll have to
awesome.
check into that.
Yeah.
So, are you going to come to the Maryland, East Coast, Maryland area?
I'm headed to Lancaster, Pennsylvania soon.
Oh, you are? That's near me.
I'll be there.
Okay, so when are you going to be there?
The beginning of November for a STEMathon conference.
A STEMathon?
STEMathon.
Okay, you're going to have to tell me what that is.
Sure. It's a conference for STEM educators. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and math, or STEAM, art and math. So it's a bunch of teachers who teach this kind of methodology and thinking, coming together to show off what they do and learn new things and see new tools and for their classroom.
Okay, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
There.
I might have to try to make that.
Yes.
Because I do some stuff with the STEM program in Maryland.
Okay.
But they don't do it this way. They talk about college, they talk about engineering, but they don't talk about it in the way you're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow. Because when I saw STEM, I related that to the stuff that I know about STEM in terms of getting kids to take on roles in engineering, technology, and things like that.
Yeah.
But your approach is totally different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is, I've encouraged kids into engineering programs and computer science programs because that was the right fit for them. And I think that's great, but they have to be the right fit for them. And if they're not, there are other options. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone forgets about the other options.
Yes.
And everybody makes an impact, and everybody can work together on projects doing the work they love to do.
There you go. Right. That's it. To be able to help young ones to find the work that they love early in life instead of waiting till they've gone through years, decades of doing something that they hate.
Right.
Only to finally throw up their hands and say, I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't know what to do with myself. And then that whole deep discovery. I think that's why I asked you how this fits into adults, because so many adults are in that position. They've done something for so many years.
Yeah.
They're miserable. And trying to find what they love is so hard after a while, because you've become so ingrained basically in being miserable.
Right. And you don't know what's outside.
Yeah.
And teachers too, they don't know what's outside of the classroom. So that's why I love talking about career options with teachers, because they don't know. They went to school, then they went to college, then they went back to the classroom. So they don't know what the real world looks like. And I don't blame them. I just really want to help them understand, what careers we're preparing kids for, and help them have those conversations with kids and share those with kids so kids know what's out there.
Wow. That's awesome.
Awesome.
I'm blown away by this.
I am
so
too.
totally
This is
different
totally not what I thought.
Yes, and I'm loving it. I just think it's going to open up a brand new world for young people. A brand new world for teachers.
Yes.
Something to their lives as well. But our children, oh my goodness, how wonderful it is that they're going to be encouraged to learn what they love at a very young age, and then to turn it into that will be their career. It won't be something that someone is putting on them, that they have to adopt, that they have to twist themselves around to make themselves fit into that mold. And creating their own world.
Yes, I can't wait to share this with my great grandbabies.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that I want to share this with.
Yes, I am so glad we met. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
My goodness, this was definitely not what I thought, not what I saw. I mean, totally left field.
Maybe I need some advice on marketing then from you so I can market.
Oh, okay. Well, we're definitely going to talk about that for sure. You've got something that's definitely worth sharing, and it's going to spread like hotcakes. And it sounds like it already is. It sounds like it already is. Yeah. But again, before we wrap up, tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. So online at www.whymaker.co, WhyMaker.co. And then on all the social channels at WhyMaker.
Okay.
Excellent.
WhyMaker.
Excellent.
Well, it has been beautiful, Miss Liz. I am so glad we almost thought you weren't coming. We hadn't heard from you, but here you are, and what a message.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We
appreciate it. Thank you very, very, very much.
This was great.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.assistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level.
Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.assistercircle.org. That's jmb.assistercircle.org. TASCircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.